What if the Rüm Sultanate, instead of remaining a bastion of Islamic culture in the heart of Anatolia, had converted to Christianity in the 1200s? Would it have changed the fate of the Crusades, or perhaps even the entire medieval world as we know it? Let's set the scene. The late 12th and early 13th centuries were a time of immense geopolitical tension. The Crusades were in full swing, with Christian armies from Europe battling their way across the Holy Land, trying to reclaim Jerusalem from Muslim control. At the same time, Islamic empires were at the peak of their power, with the Seljuk Turks carving out their own empires in the heart of the Middle East, including the Rüm Sultanate in Anatolia. The Seljuks were not just fierce warriors, they were cultural and political powerhouses, holding sway over much of Anatolia, an area that was hotly contested between the Crusaders, the Byzantine Empire, and Muslim states. Imagine if Sultan Kaykhusraw I, one of the most influential Seljuk rulers, had embraced Christianity in exchange for the support of the Crusaders. What would that have meant for the balance of power in the Middle East? Would the Crusaders have had a powerful new ally, potentially shifting the tide of the Crusades in their favor? And how might this decision have impacted the future of the Byzantine Empire, which was itself struggling for survival against both the Crusaders and Muslim forces? This is the heart of today's what-if scenario. What if the Rüm Sultanate had converted to Christianity in the 1200s? How would this shift in religion and allegiance have altered the course of history, from the fate of the Crusades to the political landscape of the Middle East? Stick with us as we explore the political, religious, and cultural consequences of a Christianized Rüm Sultanate, and consider just how different our understanding of the medieval world could have been. If you're enjoying this exploration into alternate history, don't forget to subscribe, share, and comment below to help grow the What If History channel to 10,000 subscribers. Your support means everything as we dive deeper into the untold stories of our past. The Seljuks of Rüm were one of the most significant Muslim dynasties in the history of Anatolia. Their rise began after the decisive Battle of Manzikert in 1071, when the Seljuk Turks, led by Sultan Alp Arslan, dealt a crushing blow to the Byzantine Empire. This victory allowed the Seljuks to seize large portions of Anatolia, a region that had long been a Byzantine stronghold. By the late 11th century, Anatolia was shifting from its Byzantine Christian roots to a predominantly Turkish Muslim culture, laying the foundation for what would later become the Rüm Sultanate. The Seljuks of Rüm, as they became known, established their capital in Nicaea, modern-day Iznik, a city that had once been the heart of Byzantine Christianity. Their rule, stretching from the 11th to the 13th centuries, was marked by a blend of Turkish, Persian, and Islamic influences. They governed a region that served as a crossroads between East and West, where the Byzantine Empire to the west, the Crusader States to the south, and various Muslim empires to the east all clashed and interacted. This geographic and cultural convergence made Anatolia a vital battleground for both religious and political influence. By the time of the 1200s, the Seljuks of Rüm found themselves in a precarious position. On one side, the Crusaders from Europe were marching eastward in a series of religious wars with the goal of reclaiming Jerusalem and the Holy Land. On the other, the Byzantine Empire was struggling to maintain its shrinking territories in the region, while the growing power of other Muslim empires, like the Khwarezmian Empire and the Mongols, threatened their eastern borders. The Crusades had a specific mission, to secure Christian dominance in the Levant, but they also inadvertently shaped the politics of Anatolia as they sought allies among local rulers to further their goals. Amidst this turmoil, Sultan Kaykhusraw I came to power in 1192. Kaykhusraw was a skilled and ambitious leader, known for his ability to navigate the complex web of alliances and rivalries in the region. His reign marked a significant turning point for the Rüm Sultanate. His strategic position, nestled between the powerful Crusader States to the west and the Byzantine Empire to the north, gave him both opportunities and challenges. He recognized that his kingdom could benefit greatly from an alliance with the Crusaders, who were fighting a common foe in the Muslims of the Levant. In an extraordinary moment of diplomacy, Sultan Kaykhusraw I proposed a bold idea. He would convert to Christianity and align his sultanate with the Crusader forces in exchange for their military support. This offer was significant, not only because of its religious implications, but also because it highlighted the pragmatism of Kaykhusraw's leadership. He understood that aligning with the Crusaders could give him the strength he needed to hold his ground against both the Byzantine Empire, which was threatening to reclaim Anatolia, and the rival Muslim states in the region. By adopting Christianity, the Rüm Sultanate could potentially solidify its position as a powerful Christian ally, dramatically shifting the course of the Crusades and the politics of the region. Imagine the possibilities if Kaykhusraw's offer had been accepted. What would have happened if the Rüm Sultanate had embraced Christianity and allied itself with the Crusaders? How would this change the balance of power in Anatolia, the fate of the Crusades, and even the future of the Byzantine Empire? This was a pivotal moment in history, one that could have reshaped the entire course of the medieval world. To truly understand the weight of this decision, it's essential to grasp the geopolitical and religious stakes at play. The Seljuks of Rüm, already caught between two competing civilizations, faced a critical choice: to continue their Islamic heritage and face the pressures of a divided Anatolia, or to embrace Christianity and potentially change the entire political landscape of the Middle East. Now imagine the ripple effects. What if this one decision had swung the balance in favor of the Crusaders, potentially altering the outcome of the Crusades? Would the Byzantine Empire have collapsed earlier, or would it have survived with a new powerful ally in the region? These are the questions that make this moment in history so fascinating. As we continue to explore this alternate timeline, keep in mind the profound impact Sultan Kaykhusraw I's offer to convert could have had, not just for the Rüm Sultanate, but for the entire medieval world. A conversion to Christianity by the Rüm Sultanate would have been a monumental shift, not only for the Sultanate itself, but for the entire region. The religious implications of this decision would ripple through the very core of the Seljuk Empire, affecting everything from military strategy to governance, and would undoubtedly alter the course of history. The most immediate and profound change would have been within the Seljuk military and administrative structures. The Seljuk Sultanate was built upon a deeply rooted Islamic foundation, and the conversion to Christianity would have shaken this foundation. The Seljuk military, which relied heavily on Islamic principles and had historically waged wars in the name of jihad, would have faced internal conflict. Soldiers, commanders, and religious leaders, many of whom had dedicated their lives to the Islamic faith, would have been asked to embrace Christianity. This could have led to significant religious upheaval, with factions within the Sultanate either resisting the conversion or fully embracing it. On a governance level, adopting Christianity would have meant a complete overhaul of the state structure. Islamic law, Sharia, would be replaced with Christian doctrine, and the Sultan would likely seek the approval of the Pope and other Christian leaders in order to legitimize his reign and his authority over his new Christian subjects. The Seljuk administrative system, based on Islamic teachings, would need to be reformed to align with Christian norms, potentially resulting in a more feudal structure akin to the Crusader States of the time, where loyalty to both religious and secular authorities was paramount. This shift in faith would also influence military tactics and strategy. Christianity and Islam differ in their views on warfare, and Christian knights were often bound by the code of chivalry, which emphasized honor, charity, and just wars. The Christianized Sultanate, now an ally of the Crusaders, would have likely adopted these Christian ideals, potentially leading to more organized and unified military campaigns. As a Christian power, the Sultanate could have coordinated with the Crusader States in a more structured and cohesive way, drawing on Christian knightly orders and even possibly forming joint military ventures aimed at reclaiming the Holy Land from Muslim control. Would the conversion of the Rüm Sultanate have bolstered the Crusader cause? It's highly likely. A Christianized Rüm Sultanate would have acted as a powerful ally to the Crusaders, especially during critical periods of the Crusades. With the Crusaders facing constant challenges from the Muslims in the Holy Land, an ally in Anatolia would have provided vital support, especially in terms of military strength and strategic positioning. The Seljuks of Rüm, now Christianized, could have served as a buffer between the Crusader states and the growing power of the Seljuks of Persia or the advancing Mongol horde. This alliance could have had a direct effect on the Fourth Crusade, which was aimed not at Jerusalem, but at Constantinople. The Crusaders, in their weakened state, were already in desperate need of allies. Had the Rüm Sultanate been Christian, it's plausible that they could have played a key role in directing Crusader forces, potentially turning the Fourth Crusade's focus away from Constantinople. The presence of a powerful Christian sultanate in Anatolia might have altered the Crusaders' tactics, allowing them to take a more coordinated approach to the defense of the Byzantine Empire. Though that raises the question, would the Crusaders have ultimately avoided attacking Constantinople? What would the conversion have meant for the Byzantine Empire? The Byzantine Empire was already struggling at the time of the Fourth Crusade, with internal divisions weakening its ability to defend its territories. The Rüm Sultanate, now an ally of the Crusaders, could have helped bolster Byzantine defenses, preventing the Crusaders from marching into Constantinople in 1204. Instead of a fragmented, divided Byzantine Empire fighting off invaders on its own, a Christianized Rüm Sultanate could have acted as a stabilizing force, perhaps leading to a delay in the collapse of Constantinople. However, it's also possible that the relationship between a Christianized Rüm Sultanate and the Byzantine Empire would have, in an alternate timeline where the Rüm Sultanate embraces Christianity, the dynamics of the Byzantine Empire, the Crusader States, and Anatolia would have changed dramatically. The relationship between the Rüm Sultanate and the Byzantine Empire would be one of the most profound shifts in this timeline, particularly in terms of their ability to resist external threats. A Christianized Rüm Sultanate would likely have become a powerful ally of the Byzantine Empire, rather than its rival. By the early 13th century, the Byzantine Empire was already struggling, its territories shrinking due to invasions from the Seljuks, the Crusaders, and internal political instability. Had the Rüm Sultanate converted to Christianity, they would have shared a common faith and, more importantly, a shared interest in defending Anatolia from Muslim invaders, particularly from the rising Ottoman threat. Together, a unified Christian front made up of the Byzantine Empire and the Rüm Sultanate could have drastically altered the fate of the region. An alliance between the two powers might have prevented the Byzantine Empire's further fragmentation. Instead of fighting the Crusaders or the Seljuks, the Byzantines and the Rüm Sultanate could have focused their efforts on pushing back the Ottomans, who were gaining ground in the late 14th century. This alliance might have even delayed the fall of Constantinople in 1453. With the combined strength of both empires, they could have held off the Ottoman forces for longer, perhaps even forcing them into a stalemate or negotiating a peace that would have altered the course of Ottoman expansion. In this alternate timeline, the Byzantine Empire could have remained a significant power in the region, its fate tied closely with the Rüm Sultanate. The Rüm Sultanate's support would provide not only military strength, but also a vital buffer between Constantinople and the Mongols or the Ottomans. This would have given the Byzantine Empire much-needed stability, possibly allowing it to modernize and reform its army to defend against the growing Ottoman menace. The conversion of the Rüm Sultanate would have significantly impacted the Crusader States, especially the Latin Kingdom of Jerusalem. The kingdom of the conversion of the Rüm Sultanate to Christianity would have sparked profound religious and political dilemmas, not just within the Sultanate itself, but across the broader Islamic and Christian worlds. The intersection of these two powerful religious ideologies would have been far from seamless. It would have reshaped the dynamics of the medieval world, creating new tensions, alliances, and cultural shifts that would influence both the Eastern Mediterranean and the broader Middle Eastern political landscape. The immediate challenge arising from the conversion of a prominent Islamic sultanate to Christianity would be the deep ideological and religious divide between the two faiths. Islam and Christianity, though both monotheistic religions, differ fundamentally in their beliefs, practices, and historical narratives. Christianity's emphasis on the life and divinity of Jesus Christ, as well as its doctrines of salvation and the Church, would contrast sharply with Islamic beliefs, particularly regarding the Prophet Muhammad, the Quran, and the concept of jihad. Internally, the conversion of the Rüm Sultanate would likely create divisions within the Muslim world. The Seljuks, who had ruled over much of Anatolia, had been staunch defenders of Islam. A shift away from Islam would have been seen as a betrayal by many Muslim factions, potentially leading to resistance and rebellion within the Sultanate itself. The Seljuks of Persia, the Fatimids of Egypt, and other prominent Islamic powers of the time would likely view this conversion with suspicion and hostility. For these powers, the Christianization of a once powerful Muslim state would have been a direct threat to the ideological unity of the Islamic world, which had long prided itself on the spread of Islam across the region. It's likely that the conversion would not have gone uncontested. There would have been factions within the Rüm Sultanate that would resist this dramatic shift in religion, especially among the military and religious elites who viewed Islam as the cornerstone of their identity and authority. The conversion could have sparked a period of civil strife as groups within the Sultanate vied for control over the new religious direction. It's also possible that neighboring Muslim powers, such as the Seljuks of Persia or the Abbasids, might have seen this as an opportunity to launch a religious crusade of their own, aiming to preserve the unity of the Islamic world. On the Christian side, the conversion of the Rüm Sultanate to Christianity would have been met with a mixture of enthusiasm and skepticism. The Crusaders, who had spent decades fighting to reclaim the Holy Land from Muslim control, would likely have seen this as a significant victory, one that could bolster their efforts in the region. The papacy, which had long sought to unite Christendom under its spiritual leadership, might have viewed this conversion as a step toward greater Christian unity in the East. However, tensions with the papacy and the broader Christian world would likely have arisen over the legitimacy of the conversion. Would the Pope and the Church have accepted the Sultanate's conversion without question? The history of Crusader-Christian relations is complex, and there were often rivalries and political maneuvering within the Christian world. The papacy had historically viewed Eastern Christianity, particularly the Eastern Orthodox Church, with suspicion. The Catholic Church may have been hesitant to fully embrace the Christianized Sultanate, especially if there were doubts about the sincerity of their conversion. Moreover, the political ramifications of such an alliance could have complicated relations with other Christian powers, particularly those in the Latin West, who might have viewed a powerful Christian sultanate in the East as a challenge to their influence. The Crusader States, including the Latin Kingdom of Jerusalem and the Kingdom of Cyprus, would have likely viewed the Christianized Rüm Sultanate as a powerful ally, but the question would remain: would they have absorbed the Sultanate into their fold, or would the Sultanate remain an independent power with its own influence? There might have been further crusades launched to consolidate Christian unity, not just in the Holy Land, but also in Anatolia. The presence of a Christian Rüm Sultanate would have created an entirely new power dynamic, potentially sparking a new round of territorial disputes between the Crusader states and the other Christian kingdoms of Europe. Perhaps the most enduring consequence of the Rüm Sultanate's conversion would be the lasting cultural fusion that would have occurred between Islamic and Christian traditions. Anatolia, already a melting pot of cultures and religious influences, would have become a focal point for the interaction between Christianity and Islam. The Christianized Rüm Sultanate would have been a bridge between the Latin Christian world and the Muslim East, and this cultural exchange could have been transformative for the region. In terms of arts and architecture, we might have seen a blend of Christian iconography and Islamic artistic traditions. Churches and cathedrals might have taken on the intricate geometric designs common in Islamic architecture, while Islamic calligraphy and decorative arts might have found their way into Christian religious spaces. The fusion of Christian and Islamic philosophies could have also led to new intellectual movements, where the philosophical writings of Islamic scholars like Avicenna and Averroes could have merged with Christian theological concepts, potentially influencing Renaissance thought in a way that we've never considered before. Furthermore, the conversion might have fostered a new wave of Christian pilgrimage and religious exchange between the West and the East. Christians from Europe might have traveled to Anatolia to visit Christian sites, leading to the spread of Christian ideas and practices. Likewise, Muslims who had lived under Seljuk rule might have experienced the same fusion, blending their Islamic heritage with new Christian influences in a society that was now caught between two powerful worldviews. In this alternate timeline, the region could have become a beacon of cultural and religious coexistence, where the ideals of both Christianity and Islam were woven into the very fabric of the society, leaving behind a lasting legacy of interfaith dialogue and innovation that could have shaped the medieval world in ways we can only begin to imagine. Ultimately, the conversion of the Rüm Sultanate would have created a complex and multifaceted historical scenario, one marked by internal struggles, religious and cultural fusion, and a reimagined geopolitical balance. The clash of civilizations between Christianity and Islam would have played out differently, but in many ways it might have also led to cooperation, change, and the blending of two worldviews that had long been at odds. The legacy of this Christianized sultanate would be felt for centuries, reshaping the history of both the Crusades and the broader medieval world. To recap the key points we've explored in this alternate timeline, the conversion of the Rüm Sultanate to Christianity would have led to sweeping changes across the political, religious, and cultural landscapes of Anatolia, the Byzantine Empire, and the Crusader States. Politically, a Christianized Rüm Sultanate would have shifted the balance of power in the region. Instead of being a rival to the Byzantine Empire, the Sultanate could have become a powerful ally, helping to defend the empire from the growing threat of the Ottomans and potentially altering the trajectory of Constantinople's fall. This alliance would have had profound implications for the Crusader States as well, offering them a strong ally in Anatolia and possibly consolidating Christian power in the region. The dynamics of the Crusades would have changed too, as the Rüm Sultanate's conversion could have provided crucial military support to the Crusader cause, while potentially preventing future divisions within the Christian world. Religiously, the conversion would have sparked major internal upheaval within the Sultanate itself, as well as in the broader Muslim world. The Seljuk military, with its deep roots in Islamic teachings, would have been forced to reconcile their past with this new reality. Factions within the Sultanate might have resisted, and the wider Muslim world could have seen the conversion as a betrayal, possibly even leading to new divisions and conflicts. On the other hand, this Christianized Sultanate could have led to an unprecedented period of cultural exchange between the Islamic and Christian worlds, merging traditions, philosophies, and intellectual achievements that could have influenced the course of the Renaissance. Culturally, the fusion of Christian and Islamic elements in Anatolia would have been transformative. We could have seen a blend of artistic traditions, architecture, and intellectual movements that reflected the coexistence of both faiths. The Rüm Sultanate, positioned as a bridge between East and West, might have become a center for cultural and philosophical dialogue, where the ideals of both Christianity and Islam were integrated into everyday life. Now let's take a step back and ask the big question. Was Sultan Kaykhusraw I's offer to convert to Christianity merely a political maneuver, or could it have been something more? Given the geopolitical pressures he faced, it's likely that Kaykhusraw saw the conversion as a way to strengthen his position in an ever-shifting political landscape. But could there have been a deeper, more genuine desire to seek religious common ground in a world so divided? It's hard to say, but it's worth speculating whether this act of conversion might have been the beginning of a broader shift in the way powers in the region viewed religion, politics, and alliances. If Kaykhusraw's offer had been accepted and led to a united Christian Anatolia, we could have seen an entirely different medieval world unfold. The Rüm Sultanate might have become the center of a powerful Christian empire, extending its influence across the region and possibly even playing a pivotal role in the defense of Europe against the Ottomans. Alternatively, it could have been absorbed by the Crusader States, but its religious and political influence would have remained a driving force in the region for centuries. Would this alternate Christianized Rüm Sultanate have prevented the rise of the Ottomans? Could it have become a powerful Christian state, or would it have been just another footnote in history, lost to time as the Ottomans rose to power? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more thought-provoking historical what-ifs. If you enjoyed this exploration of what could have been, make sure to leave a like and a comment below. Your thoughts and ideas are what make this community so exciting, and I'd love to hear which other alternate history scenarios you'd like us to dive into next. Whether it's another moment in the Crusades, a different twist in medieval history, or any what-if scenario, drop your suggestions in the comments. Also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button to stay updated on all our future videos. We've got plenty more historical deep dives, alternate timelines and thought-provoking explorations coming your way. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.